Wait lang!
Our group was about to discuss the 1987 Constitution. So, the framing and ratification of the 1987 Constitution. So, the 1987 Constitution was drafted by a Constitutional Commission under Article 5 Proclamation Number 3, issued on March 25, 1986, which promulgated the significant constitution or provisional constitution, followed by the installation of the revolutionary government through the direct exercise of the power of the Filipino people. So, pursuant to Proclamation Number 3, we, on April 23, 1986, President Corazon Aquino promulgated the Proclamation Number 9, which is the law governing the Constitutional Commission of 1986, to organize the Constitutional Commission and provide details of his operation. It also established the procedures for the ratification or rejection of the proposed constitution. On June 2, 1986, the Constitutional Commission was convened at Batasan Pambansa or National Assembly for the first time.
Good morning. I'm here to discuss the continuation of what was tackled about earlier. The proposed new constitution was approved by the commission constitutional commission on the night of Sunday, October 12, 1986, culminating 133 days of work voted by 44-2. A commissioner signed subsequently by affixing stamp mark at the 6th bed on October 14, 1986. Another two commissioners had resigned earlier. The two commissioner dissented also signed to express their dissent and symbolize their formal participation in the drawing up of the new constitution. The Constitutional Commission held its final session in the morning of October 15, 1986. To sign the 109-page draft consisting a preamble, 18 articles, 321 sections, and about 2,000 words. After which in the same day was presented to the President by its original copy in English and Filipino. The people in the plebiscite was ratified by the people in the plebiscite which held on February 2, 1987. It was superseded by the Commission which abrogated 1973 Charter.
Merits and demerits of an appointee framing body. Admittedly, there were some merits or advantages in delegating a new charter of an appointee constitutional commission rather than to an elected constitutional convention. The fact, however, that the member of the constitutional commission was selected or appointed by the president to a list of nominees does not necessarily establish it was not representative of the sovereign will of the Filipino people. express their will to what the law ought to be. Conversely, the Constitutional Convention, like the Constitution we had before, may not always be reflective of the sentiments or desires of the majority of the people who elect its delegate. The Constitutional Commission was not expensive and time-consuming because the country could not then afford the cost of electing its delegate because the lack of funds and time was in the essence of transcendental inheritance. However, the strongest and most fundamental argument propounded against this method is that an appointed body was susceptible to charge of the lack of independence and the susception of pressure. The writings of the Constitution as the highest expressions of the people, ideals, and aspirations serves the country from generation to come.
Ako mag-rate.
Need to cure defects in the Constitution. To have a truly democratic and constitutional government, it is absolutely necessary that the Constitution be initially drafted by duly members of our representative constituent and later on approved by the people in the plebiscite. Constitution which was drafted by non-elective commissioners and ratified under the authority of a revolutionary government. The jury is posited by that having it amended and having it amendments ratified under the democratic government, we will have now cured any defect in its formation and ratification. This is my understanding about my topic. Everyone is equal before the law and has the right to equal protector and benefit of the law. We elect our leaders and it is our duty to provide them a constitutional framework of government where it will be difficult to fail the people. It is not hard to understand why the 1986 Constitution described our state first as democratic and secondly as republican. It is because of our 1987 government was brought about by direct action of the people through what has become known as the People's Power Revolution of 1986. We need to amend the Constitution to give more reality to the political equality of our people, where the vote of each is of equal value with the vote of others.
So, good morning everyone. Today, I will discuss the topic about the basic principle underlying the new Constitution. So, the 1987 Constitution was founded upon certain fundamental principles of government from which we become a part and parcel of our democratic heritage as a people. The knowledge of this principle is therefore relies under the 1987 Constitution. So, among these principles that was contained under the 1987 Constitution was the first one is the recognition of the aid of the Almighty God. So, under this principle, is the preamble, which is important to the Philippine Constitution because it introduces the Constitution to the goals and purpose of the document. The preamble from the Philippine Constitution explains that they are forming a government based on the truth, values, freedom, equality, and peace. Next one is the sovereignty of the people. So under this principle, it is stated that the Philippines is a democratic republican state, resides from the people and all the nations that emanates from them. Renunciations of war as an instrument of national policy. So the Philippines renounces war as an instrument of national policy, adopts the generally accepted principle of international law as part of the lands and as part of the law. The supremacy of civilian authority over the military. So, civilian authority is at all times supreme over the military. It has the duty to secure the Philippines and all the people which is having the law. So, separation of church and state. So under this principle, the separation of church and state shall always be violable. So recognition of the importance of the family as a basic social institution and the vital role of the youth in nation building. So the importance of family as a basic social institution and the vital role of the youth in the nation building. Under this principle, the family has the duty and responsibility to care for their elderly and their youth, to be responsible for our government and our nation. So the next one is the guarantee of human rights. Everyone has their right to secure their property, their persons and their houses against the unlawful men that never recognize the law. Government suffrage. So the government suffrage is exercised by all the citizens of the Philippines not otherwise disqualified by law, who are at least 18 years of age, and who shall reside in the Philippines at least 1 year and in the place where the proposed to go for at least 6 months immediately receiving the education. No literacy and no other substantive requirement shall be imposed on the exercise of suffrage. So the right goes for the government of our national leaders of power. So the next basic principles, the rule of majority and the government of laws and documents will be discussed by the next lecturer, Ms. Janessa Macal.
To discuss about the rule of the majority. The concept is the observance of the rule of the majority is an unwritten law of popular government. The wishes of the rule of the majority prevails over those of the minority. It does not mean that the minority is left without rights. It is given certain fundamental rights like the rights to express their opinion and to protest the acts of the majority, although it is bound to abide by the latter of the decision. I give you a situation that for you to understand this concept. When the person is accused of corruption, even he insists to everyone that he is not guilty or for doing such crime, he doesn't have the option to be heard when the prosecution and the majority decide, most especially if they have a detailed evidence filed in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will give the side enough time and days to defend their side, even if they are guilty to the decision of the majority. They still have the right to defend themselves or to express their opinion. But in the end, the majority
in the end, the decision of the majority will be the rule according to the law of the Republic. For many instances, the rule of the majority is observed in our government, thus under a new constitution. The majority vote of all the respective members of the Congress is necessary to elect the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of the Representatives. See the Article 6, Section 60, number 1. And the majority of all members of the Congress to confer the grant of amnesty, Article 7, Section 19. And to pass the law granting the tax exemption, Article 6, Section 28, number 4. In case of a tie in the election, the president shall be chosen by the majority of all the members of both House of Congress. Article 7, Section 4. Your Honor, matanggihan will continue the role of the majority.
To continue discussing about the 1987 Constitution, rule of majority instances, letter B. A two-thirds of all its respective members is required to suspend or expel a member of either house of all the members of Congress to declare the existence of state of war, to consider a bill vetoed by the President, and to call the Constitutional Convention Act and of all the members of the Senate to concur to a members of the Treaty International Agreement. Based on that statement, the votes of two-thirds in this Constitution can be based on the statement of this Constitution, the votes of two-thirds of all the votes of two-thirds in this Constitution can expel or suspend a member if they have evidences to prove. The similar act of state of war that can be based is the highest member and to be declared the requested suspension. After this, it will lead to conviction or impeachment that can be processed by the accused and pay the mess. Like the example of the pork barrel where Napoles was accused because of the two witness, she paid the mess she did, and she sent to the Supreme Court to tell the whole truth. The next one is any amendment to or revision of the Constitution may be proposed by the Congress upon the votes of 3/4 and of all its members, and it shall be valid when ratified by the majority of votes and cast in a plebiscite. In this statement, any proposal from a person may be achieved by the members of the group agree. If it's not the proposal, I not consider to approve by the having all votes in the members in this Constitution can result to the Goodwill Project. Like the example of if you were a class president and as a leader of your class, and you have a proposal to the goodness of your class section by the using of voting, you can get the proposal you want. So the majority of votes can resist the continuation of the project. The letter D and the number 3 was discussed about by the next teacher.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here to continue the discussion about the instances under the rule of majority. The fourth instance under the rule of majority is the decision of the Supreme Court has to become in by a majority of members who actually took part in the deliberation of issues of the cases and voted thereon. To pronounce a treaty, international or executive agreement, and law unconstitutional. This means
that the majority took their part on the deliberation of issues and voted thereon. And they give their part on the decision making of the Supreme Court. The third, the third rule of majority is the practicable rule of law. The device of majority is a practicable rule of law based on reasons and experience. Democracy assumes that in a society of rational beings, the judgment and experience of many will, in most instances, be superior to the judgment and experience of the few. And hence, the verdict of majority will more be likely correctly than those of the minority. It is of course to be understood that the majority acts within the field of law. This means that the government gives priority on the judgment and experiences of many than those of the minority. It is because they believe that majority acts within the field of law, or the majority obey the rules which was given or which was implemented in the country. And the next topic will be discussed by the next report.
Government of law, not of men. When we say law, batas, and government of law, not of men, this meant that no man in this country is above or beyond the law. Even you have a high rank, you have a mighty power, still you have no greater rights on the eyes of the law. And the government exercise this law. When we say the government exercise the law, they have the powers. And the powers that was given only by the law is very limited. And once they disobey the law, they are accused and can be and once the government disobey the law, they hindi nila sinunod yung rule of the law. And all the officers of the government, how high you are, or how and what kind of rank you are encountering, still you are under the law, and it is very limited to make your actions. And the continuation will be discussed by.
Also, under the government of law, not of men, are the observance of the law and the significance of the principle. The same is true of private